So after that, you will be doing the structural correlation with the function of the neurons. We divide the central nervous system into two parts. One is the central nervous system and the other is the peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system mainly consists of, you have seen now, ma'am has shown you the cerebrum, cerebellum, and the midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, pons, medulla oblongata, and cerebellum, which are forming the part of the hindbrain. Cerebrum is the forebrain. The medulla oblongata continues into the spinal cord. So we'll discuss about the histology of spinal cord and the general about the nervous system, types of neurons, and the structure of the peripheral nerve. Peripheral nervous system is cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. We have done the spinal nerve also today. So you know now what is spinal nerve, and you know you have seen the cranial nerves in the head and neck. So the nervous system, now just to repeat, is divided into central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Peripheral is nerves, cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Central nervous system is cerebellum, cerebrum, spinal cord, midbrain, medulla. Spinal cord, which continues as medulla continues as the spinal cord. Now, what is the basic structure of the nervous system? It has got cells, which are two different types of cells. One is the neurons and the other is the neuroglia. The difference between the neurons and the neuroglia is that the neurons are the conducting cells. They are responsible for the conduction of the impulse. Can anybody guess how many neurons we have in our human body? Okay, so we are billionaire with the neurons and the supporting cells or the connective tissue cells. Wherever there are cells present, we have connective tissue, and the connective tissue of nervous system is the called as the neuroglia. The neurons are of different type. If we go to the classification, anatomic classification of the neurons, we can classify according to the number of processes. So we have, one is the multipolar neurons, which have multiple processes or the dendrites, and the bipolar neurons, which are present in the cochlear nucleus of the ear, in the retina, and multipolar neurons are the motor neurons present in the anterior gray column of the spinal cord. Then we have the unipolar, they are we call it as the pseudo unipolar neurons also. So three types: multipolar, bipolar, unipolar or pseudo unipolar, depending upon the number of dendrites. According to the functional classification, we divide it into motor neurons, which will bring the or which will carry the efferent impulses, and the sensory neurons, which are responsible for the afferent or the ascending messages, and the motor neurons message will be sent by the sensory, the processes of the sensory neuron, and will come back as a reaction by means of the motor neurons. Motor neurons from the effector organs. They will go to the effector organs. Then the third type of neurons are the interneurons. They are smaller in size and connect the different parts of the brain, central nervous system. So their number is much more as compared to the main motor and the sensory neurons. They are like they act as intermediary between the motor, sensory, and between the synapses. So the neuron is a it's structural and the functional unit. It has a, I think this you must have covered in your 12th also. So this is just a repetition. Each neuron consists of a cell body, which is called as soma, and the processes from the cell body, the cell membrane of the neuron gives multiple processes. Those are the dendrites, and a single process descends down as the axon. It has got a bigger soma or the cell body, which you can see some granules. These are the Nissl granules, which are made up of the rough endoplasmic reticulum. And this portion is called as the axon hillock. Pyramidal shape area is the axon hillock. The Nissl substance is present in the dendrites, but not in the axon. That is the difference between the cell body and the part of the axon which doesn't have the Nissl substance. Okay. So rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is required for the synthesis of the proteins. So this is the axonal process, which is covered by the connective tissue cells of the peripheral nervous system. These are called as the Schwann cells, which are responsible for the myelin sheath of the peripheral nerves. That's why they appear white. And at the axon terminal, there are bulbous. They end as bulbs, small dilatations. The plasma membrane forms dilatation, which are called as the synaptic knobs or the synaptic bulbs. So the cell body contains what? Nucleus, nucleolus, and different cell organelles like in the other cells. Cytoplasm or the perikaryon, dendrites projecting from the cell body, numerous cytoplasmic extensions of the cell body, which increase the surface area. What is the function of these dendrites is they increase the surface area, so one neuron can receive information from the larger area. That is the advantage of having the dendrites, which are cytoplasmic extensions. That means they are membrane, plasma membrane of the cell plus the cytoplasmic extensions together are called as the dendrites. According to this morphology, we've classified into the multipolar neurons and the pseudo-unipolar and the bipolar neurons. In the pseudo-unipolar, there is a single process, which is exodendritic process. So it is divided into a central process and the peripheral process. You have seen the spinal nerve dorsal root has got a dorsal root ganglion. Just now, ma'am has shown you the spinal nerves and the dorsal root ganglions, which contain these pseudo-unipolar cells. Nowadays, we call it as unipolar, which divides into immediately bifurcates to a exodendritic process. So dendritic end and the other end is the axonal end. So these are the sensory neurons. Multipolar neurons, the direction of the exoplasmic flow will determine the direction of the impulse. So axon terminal is responsible for the transmission of the impulse. Multipolar neurons are the motor neurons. Then we have the bipolar neurons. There are two processes coming from the cytoplasm of the neurons. These are present in the retina as well as in the cochlear nucleus of the brain. Medulla, you will see the cochlear nucleus in the nucleus or the cochlear ganglion, which is present in the internal ear, that has got bipolar neurons. So multipolar, bipolar and pseudo unipolar, these are the main three types of neurons. You can see this is the cell body of a neuron with nucleolus and nucleus, and so the axon terminal, which will message from the cell body through the other neurons and will go to the effector organs, forms junctions with the other cell. Myelin helps in the conduction. It makes the conduction faster. We'll come to the myelin formation also. So electrical signaling will be transmitted from the axon, and this is converted into an impulse by the action potential, and then converted, the message will come back, the body will react to the whatever message it has received. So this is the bipolar neuron and this is the pseudo unipolar neuron. Now the sensory, I told you, the sensory or the pseudo unipolar neurons are present in the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. Dorsal root of the, there are two roots of the spinal nerve. The dorsal root has got the sensory pseudo unipolar neurons present in the dorsal root ganglion. Ganglia is nothing but the collection of the neurons which are present outside the central nervous system. So we have the sensory ganglion on the cranial nerves, you have already done, and the spinal nerves. The sensory neurons, it has a dendrite and an axon, that is bipolar. Two processes. Example, retina, inner ear, that is in the cochlear ganglion, and the vestibulocochlear nerve has got the ganglion which has got the bipolar neurons. The other is the olfactory epithelium or the nose. There are neurons present which are also pseudo-unipolar, sometimes pseudo-unipolar or bipolar, mainly bipolar neurons. The multipolar neurons, there are more than two dendrites coming from the soma or the cell body and a single axon. There are some collaterals also present from the axon. One or two collaterals may be there from the axon. These motor neurons or the interneurons are smaller in size. Motor neurons are larger, interneurons are smaller. And the motor neurons are present in the best example is the anterior horn cells of the spinal cord. You have seen there in the spinal cord. What is the functional correlation of these neurons? Is efferent is the sensory, efferent is motor, and for larger connections to the other parts of the brain, we have the interneurons which are present in between the sensory and the motor. That is why they are called as the interneurons. Motor neurons, they convey impulses from the central nervous system to the effector muscles or the glands. And we have the neurons present in the anterior gray horn cells, which are forming the local reflex arc at the level of the spinal cord. for the immediate action. Suddenly, if there is a pin prick, you remove your finger and the segment concerned with the nerve supply of that tip of the finger is immediately drawn without reaching the central nervous system. So these are the motor neurons which are present for the synaptic. Reflex arc, for the reflex arc for the immediate action. Anterior gray horn cells, which are motor, multipolar motor neurons. Sensory will conduct the impulses from the receptors in the internal organs which are present or from the external environment. We have sensory receptors in the skin. You have must have done in your physiology also. The pain receptors, the pressure receptors, or you will do it in the tracks when we do. So from the external environment as well as from the internal organs, receptors, the sensory afferent neurons are present, which convey the impulses to the central nervous system. And the posterior gray horn cells are sensory. And the other sensory we have seen is the dorsal root, which has pseudo-unipolar, the peripheral process, and the central process. Central process are the dendritic process, and axonal process will form the peripheral nerve or the spinal nerve. Interneurons, they are, I told you, intermediary or integrates the impulses, connects the neuronal circuits between the sensory and motor, and other interneurons are present in the central nervous system. Now, to begin with, we said the neurons we have discussed, that is different types of neurons and their functional correlation. Now coming to the other variety of cells which are present in the nervous system is the neuroglia. Neuroglia, another, if we have to compare, these are the connective tissue cells of the central nervous system, and Schwann cells and the satellite cells are the supporting cells which form the myelin. They are present in the peripheral nervous system. So different types of neuroglia are the astrocytes, oligodendrocytes, which are responsible for formation of the myelin in the central nervous system, and they are neuroectodermal in origin. So the astrocytes, oligodendrocytes, they are neuroectodermal in origin, while the microglia is mesodermal in origin. All these ependymal cells, the satellite cells, Schwann cells are neuroectodermal derivatives of the neural crest. Microglia is responsible for the for working against the infections in the brain. They say these are the modifications of the monocytes which have migrated during development. The astrocytes, so this is just to show you the parts: dendrites, vessel substance, cell body, nucleus, Schwann cells, axon, myelin sheath, axons which will give rise to the peripheral nerves, axon terminals. It's just now myelin sheath, which is secreted by the Schwann cells in the peripheral nervous system, and one cell will give myelin to one of the segments of the axon. So each axon of the which is coming and bundle of the fibers which will form the peripheral nerve has got the number multiple Schwann cells. So once there in the central nervous system, one cell can give rise to the number of axons can be myelinated, while in the peripheral nervous system, each segment has its own Schwann cells, which forms the myelin. And the gap between the two Schwann cells, which are giving rise to myelin, is the nodes of Rendgen, small gaps or spaces. Myelin is for the faster conduction. So the myelin formation in the peripheral nervous system is by Schwann cells, and in the central nervous system, it is by oligodendrocytes. The peripheral nervous Schwann cells, there are a number of Schwann cells which will give rise to the different segments of the myelin sheath in the peripheral nervous system, while in the central nervous system, the oligodendrocytes, one oligodendrocytes can form a sheath around the number of axons. So well-developed myelin sheath is present in the peripheral nervous system, and the cells, the cytoplasm of the cell, it spirals around the axons and keeps on spiraling. The like a mesoaxon is formed. If somebody imaginates, if you put a finger into the balloon, you receive like in the pleura. The lung has, they've invaginated into the pleura. So we have visceral layer and the parietal layer. But here, so the one layer is of the axon, axolemal sheath, and the other one is formed, neurolemma is formed by the cytoplasm and the plasma membrane of the Schwann cells. Coming to the gray matter, in the gray matter we have neurons, dendrites, neuroglia, and their processes. These three processes of the neurons, processes of dendrites and neuroglia, they together form the neuropil. And the gray matter in the spinal cord, why it appears gray is because of the presence of the cell bodies of the neurons. And there are dendrites and which are not myelinated as the thickness of the myelin sheath. Thickly myelinated are the peripheral nerves. We've discussed about the astrocytes. So there are two types of astrocytes actually, the protoplasmic and the fibrous astrocytes. The fibrous astrocytes are present in the mostly in the white matter, and they are protoplasmic astrocytes which are smaller in size. There are numerous processes that branch extensively, star-shaped you can say, and are relatively short processes as compared to the fibrous processes. What is the function of the astrocytes? They play a role in maintaining the intracellular environment of the central nervous system. They regulate the entry of substances into the interneuronal spaces. So they are regulating the environment in the central nervous system. They maintain the ionic concentration in the intercellular environment, interneuronal spaces, and they play a role in the neuromodulation. They maintain these calcium or potassium if excess is removed by the astrocytes. The other important function by the astrocytes is the maintenance of the blood-brain barrier. They have large ovoid nucleus with surface irregularities and eccentrically placed nucleus. And the medical application for this is most of the brain tumors, astrocytomas, are because of the defect in the GFAP, that is glial fibrillating acidic protein, which give rise to the defective. This forms, if there is a defect in the GFAP, this will give rise to the astrocytomas, which are present. Most of the tumors of the brain are the astrocyte, gliomas and astrocytomas. So just they are important. Now you know they are responsible for maintaining the internal as well environment of the neuronal interneuronal spaces. They are part in the blood-brain barrier. They also help in the neuromodulation. Whether the body should react or not, that is neuromodulation is done by the astrocytes. Then we have the oligodendrocytes. They have less number of processes and dark. There are the three different types of oligodendrocytes: light, intermediate, and dark. So in the adult we have in the kids or infants we have the active oligodendrocytes, which are formed doing the myelination of the brain. In the adults they have the heterochromatic nucleus. Then the third type is the microglia, which are modified. These are they are modified monocytes and are evenly distributed in gray and white matter. They have flattened cell bodies, mesodermal in origin. That is the main difference from astrocyte and oligodendrocyte. Mesodermal in origin, derived from the monocytes that invade the brain during fetal life. In the peripheral nervous system, the connective tissue cells were the Schwann cells you have seen already, and the satellite cells which are present around the neurons of the ganglion. We'll come to it. Now, the other connective tissue is the ependymal cells. Ependymal cells are also of three types. They are have the microvilli. They are cuboidal in shape. They have microvilli on their surfaces, and there is no basal lamina. There is no basement membrane. You can see here the processes are invading the wall of the ependyme, the cavity of the brain. So if this is they line the cavities or the central canal. So these are the ependymal cells, which have shown is the processes towards the lumen and processes going invading the wall of the central canal or the ventricles. And so we have in the connective tissue of central nervous system, astrocyte, oligodendrocyte, microglia, ependymal cells. In the peripheral nervous system, satellite cells and the Schwann cells. So this is the shape of the hypermagnification. How does the axon surround the axon is surrounded by the Schwann cells. This is oligodendrocytes. Their processes have some dilatation or basal webs. These are the ependymal cells. This is the astrocytes. This is again the higher magnification. On now clearly seen these cells. Now you can correlate the neurons with the Schwann cells as well as Schwann cells in the peripheral nervous system and astrocytes, oligodendrocytes, microglia, ependymal cells in the central nervous system. This is a gold staining where you can see this as the neuron very clearly and their processes, which are making synapses with the processes of the other neurons. So these processes, dendrites and axons with the processes of the neuroglia is called as the neuropil. You can see in between some lighter staining nuclei which are smaller in size. The neuroglia also has processes, but they are smaller in length as compared to the neuronal processes. The receptors are two different types of receptors. We have the chemical receptors and the electrical receptors, which also contribute to the in between the form. In between, we have synapse. Sorry, it's not receptors. This is synapses. In between are also contributing to the formation of the neuropil. Just to summarize, astrocytes cover the capillaries of the brain. Oligodendrocytes form myelin sheath, microglia phagocytic in function. Ependymal cells, when modified, forms like choroid plexus. They secrete cerebrospinal fluid. And there are tanycytes, the three types of ependymal cells. Those which line the choroid plexus and those ependymal cells which lines the ventricles. Satellite cells are present to support the peripheral nervous system, and Schwann cells form the myelin sheath in the peripheral nervous system. Now, we come to the section of the nerve trunk, which you will see in this slide. You can see some rounded collection of the nerve fibers. These are called as the fascicles. So we have, if you see a TS of the nerve trunk, we see the fascicles which are surrounded by the connective tissue. The outermost is the epineurium, which keeps the bundle of, all the fascicles together. And then we have perineurium. In between the fascicles is the perineurium, which keeps the two fascicles close to each other. And each fiber has got another connective tissue covering, which is called as the endoneurium. So we have epineurium, perineurium, and endoneurium keeps the fibers together of the fascicles. So there is one term called as the fascicles, and the other is the fasciculus, which you have done. This is a white matter, which is divided into different fasciculi: anterior enteroventral fasciculus, lateral fasciculus of white matter, and the posterior funiculus or fasciculus. So this is posterior funiculus, this is the lateral funiculus, this is the anterior funiculus in the spinal cord. And these are the myelinated fibers, where you can see HNE does not give a myelin a stain because it is lipid and glycophospholipids plus all the cholesterol. These get washed away. These are paraffin. When we prepare paraffin sections, the lipid gets washed away. So it appears as the empty spaces. In between these empty spaces, you can see some dots. Those are the exons. And few smaller nuclei, these are the nuclei of astrocytes, microglia, oligodendrocytes. So these are the nuclei interspersed between the exons, or these rounded spaces with central dot. These are the exons. And this is a gray matter, this is the posterior horn. This is the anterior horn, has got multipolar neuron. In between, these are sensory fibers. This is the anterior median fissure. These are the ependymal cells. Okay, so this in between the fascicles is the perineurium. This is a fascicle, and outside is the epineurium in the nerve trunk. And these are the satellite cells. We'll do it again in the ganglion, which surround the neurons of the ganglion cells. So this is a higher magnification showing the motor neurons. This is how you will see. This is a part of the neuropil with neuroglia and large bodies with nucleus and nucleolus and missile substance. For the missile substance, we use different stains, that is cressyl phosphorylated, which is used, which stains this rough endoplasmic reticulum of the neuron very clearly. So that's how you will see the central canal, the neurons in the gray matter. Gray matter is, we have seen, is H-shaped, and this is a peripheral nerve. We can see some remnants of the myelin and myelin sheath. This is the axon. These all are the nerve fibers, and this is the perineurium. So white matter has got axon and neuroglia, oligodendrocytes, other neuronal cells. Now coming to the peripheral, you have seen Schwann cells, nerves, and the cranial and the spinal nerves. This is the spinal nerve, which is showing the dorsal root ganglion. And if you see a cut section, each fiber is surrounded by a connective tissue sheath, which is the endoneurium, which keeps the fibers together in the vesicle. So we have innermost covering of the fiber is the endoneurium, then the perineurium, and outside keeping all the vesicles together is the epineurium. Higher magnification with blood vessels in between these vesicles. In the olfactory nerve, in the optic nerve, we identify, because we identify the optic nerve with the central artery of retina and the vein, which is present in the optic nerve. And there are no glial cells present in between the fibers. That is the difference between the peripheral nerve and the optic nerve. So this again showing, you can label this. This is, what all is this? Peripherally, perineurium, endoneurium. These are the nuclei of the Schwann cells, connective tissue sheath. So the higher magnification with neurokeratin network of dissolved myelin or remnants of myelin can be seen when we use the different osmic stain or gold chloride. We can stain these myelin sheath. Fibrocytes in the endoneurium and perineurium. The cells present in the perineurium are the fibrocytes, the glial cells, Schwann cells. All these are forming the component of the perineurium, fibrous tissue cells. What are the points of identification? Numerous axons bundled together form a vesicle. Each axon appears as eosinophilic and is surrounded by a myelin sheath. Nuclei of Schwann cells, membrane of Schwann cells. Each individual axon is surrounded by endoneurium. Each vesicle is surrounded by perineurium. The entire peripheral nerve is surrounded by epineurium. Now coming to the spinal cord. Spinal cord, you are aware, now we have the white matter and the white matter, which is in the form of funiculus. Posterior funiculus, lateral column, or the anterior column. The gray matter is H-shaped with posterior horn, which has got apex, head, neck, and the base. This is the anterior horn made up of motor neurons. Posterior median septum, anterior median fissure, and the dorsal root ganglion from attached to the dorsal root and the ventral root of the spinal nerve. These two together form the spinal nerve. So this is the coverings of the spinal cord. All the meninges will be there. We have the subdural space, subarachnoid space, subdural space, subarachnoid space. Lining the immediate is the pia mater. So the neuropil in the posterior funiculus, anterior funiculus. This is the section passing through the mid-thoracic region, where another projection of the gray matter is called as the lateral column. So we have the anterior horn, lateral horn or the lateral gray horn, and the posterior gray horn. This is the central canal, and this is the anterior median fissure. So as we go up in the cervical region, there are cervical enlargements. And in the lumbar region, we have the lumbar enlargements of the gray matter. So white matter, gray matter of the anterior horn, which has got multipolar motor neurons. And these are the nuclei of the neuroglia. This is special stain to show the axon hillock, initial segment of the axon, and the missile substance with prominent nucleus and nucleolus if seen, but is not seen here. These are the fibers of the neuropil. Now, just to differentiate, you can differentiate through which the section is passing. In the thoracic region, there will be a lateral horn, and in the cervical region, the ascending fibers are all ascending up and forming the funiculi, or the white matter is more as compared to the gray matter in the cervical region. And in the lower cervical and upper thoracic, we have the cervical enlargements, which will give rise to the brachial plexus. And in the sacral region, you can see the gray matter is much more and bulbous as compared to the white matter. In the lumbar region, it's almost the equal amount of, but there is lumbar enlargement for the lumbar plexus, and for the sacral plexus, we have the sacral enlargement in the sacral region. And as the fibers are added, the central canal is pushed anteriorly in the cervical region and is more dorsal in position in the sacral region. These are the differences which you will do in the gross also, and you can differentiate in the histological sections also. So I hope you can identify now the spinal cord by the median sulcus. Deep anterior median fissure consists of inner gray matter, which is H-shaped, connected. Two sides are connected by a gray commissure. And we have the anterior gray white commissure, which connects the two white matter funiculi of both the sides. The gray matter consists of larger anterior gray horn. Posterior gray horns are more tapering and are different parts of the posterior gray horn. Apex, neck, base. It is in the form of the whole column, and dorsal root reaches till the surface of the spinal cord, while the anterior gray column falls short of the margin of the spinal cord. Horns they are multipolar neurons with neuroglia, and white matter contains the. Now coming to the ganglions. What are ganglions? Ganglions are the collection of the neurons These are collection which are lying outside the central nervous system. They are present, sensory ganglions are present on the, I've shown you the dorsal root ganglion and on the cranial nerves. And these are the two different types of the ganglion, which are the sensory ganglion one and the other is the autonomic ganglion, which are present in the autonomic nervous system. Now, to differentiate between the sensory ganglion and the autonomic ganglion, we have to differentiate. You can see this is a collection of neurons, which is in the groups, and they are surrounded by a capsule, which is made up of satellite cells, which are again the connective tissue cells of the peripheral nervous system. There were two types of cells of the peripheral nervous system. One was Schwann cells, the other one was the satellite cells. So you can see groups of neurons together interspersed with the fibers of the nerve. So, and the size of the neurons in the dorsal root ganglion or the sensory ganglion is much larger as compared to the autonomic ganglion, and the capsule is complete. This is the higher magnification of the sensory ganglion. There is a capsule formed by the satellite cells. It is more complete because these are pseudo unipolar cells. So there is only one process which interrupts the capsule. While in the autonomic ganglion, the cells are the multipolar. So we have incomplete capsule. That's how we differentiate, and the cells, neurons are smaller. You can see some brown pigment. This is the lipofuscin pigment. These are the nuclei of satellite cells. The sympathetic autonomic ganglion are of two types, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic are associated with the sympathetic chain, both the right and the left. We have cervical part, thoracic, lumbar, and the sacral parts of the sympathetic chain. And in this, we have the preganglionic and the postganglionic fibers. The sympathetic ganglion of the sympathetic chain usually has the preganglionic fibers. So we will say the autonomic ganglion are other autonomic ganglion you have done is the otic ganglion, pterygopalatine ganglion, those ganglions of the associated with the parotid gland, associated with the ninth nerve, and the sensory ganglion was associated with the fifth nerve, fifth, seventh, eighth, all these are cranial nerve sensory ganglion. So now this is smaller size as compared to the sensory and the nucleus, plus they are not present in groups. There you can see in between each neuron so many fibers are present. The sensory was divided by means of 2 or 3 branches of the nerve, which divided the sensory ganglion into groups of neurons. Here the cells are not in groups, they are singly placed with incomplete capsule. If we have to compare, you can see now this is lesser magnification. These are cells are present in lot of cells which are present separately, and the other important point is the nucleus is eccentrically placed in the neurons which are forming the sympathetic ganglion. So the sympathetic or the autonomic ganglion. So you don't have to differentiate between sympathetic and parasympathetic, but you have to differentiate between dorsal root ganglion and autonomic ganglia, or the sensory and the autonomic ganglia. So these are the multipolar neurons, which having a incomplete or not very distinct capsule. The otherwise in the sensory ganglion, there is a complete capsule of the satellite cells. I hope you have understood. Thank you very much for your patient listening. If you have any problems, you can ask me. Have you understood anything? You have any questions? You can put your questions in the chat box, because you have to see the slides next. It will be reinforced in your demonstration. All the slides you will be seeing of the nerve trunk, you will be seeing of the ganglion plus spinal cord. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you.
Please explain the coverings around it. One of the students now, Amit Gujjar.
Amit Gujjar. The coverings around the axon is, one is the exolemma. We have the exoplasm of the axon, then outside is the exolemma, and then the neurolemma. The neurolemma is formed by the membrane, the plasma membrane of the Schwann cells. So exolemma joins with the, it fuses with the neurolemma with very little, if at all there is a cytoplasm, or normally the cytoplasm is pushed back into the Schwann cell body of the Schwann cells. So we do only have the membranes around the axon, that is will form the myelin, and outside is the, all this double layer of the neurolemma of the Schwann cell will give rise to spiraling around the axon, the mesoaxon, which will spiral around the axon and will form the myelin sheath. Is it clear to you, Amit? Amit Gujjar, have you followed? Any other question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we are ending. If any other question, you can put your in chat box and will be explained in your demonstration. Thank you very much.